Park, way down on Bandon Street. And it was formed after the clearing of the log jam, you know, in the river.
These were the beginnings of this St. Mark's of ours. And through more than 150 years, the people of St. Mark's have led the way in this community. Whether it was leading people out of the bottoms and into the pews, or leading people out of a fine but small church and into today's grand Gothic cathedral.
It's a gem of its time. It's very hard to reproduce without just, as I say, spending millions and billions of dollars.
St. Mark's Cathedral is a gem of its time. No one knows that better than the architect who designed it, Mr. Paul G. Jack Annan. And few know better what it takes to maintain a structure like this.
Simply due to money, the economy, they have not been able for the last 10, 15 years, been able to really keep the building in the shape that it should have been kept in.
Well, a building like this has a lot of hidden needs that most people don't see, but they're part of the functioning of a building. And the maintenance of these various things is a tremendous financial effort for the church every year. They're ongoing. The age of the organ is the same as the age of this cathedral. And it has reached a point now where we need to do some major replacements.
You have to take care of them like a sick child, and that's what some of this program will encompass, is the replacing of certain pipes and certain parts of the organ system. Yeah.
I think the fact that we want to develop a larger endowment to take the burden off of future generations when it comes to just maintaining these beautiful buildings is a must. It's just part of the responsibility that today's adults have for tomorrow's new young people.
Throughout the years, the congregations of St. Mark's have done a good job of looking toward the tomorrows, of doing what it takes to maintain our buildings, to ensure our growth, to educate our children, and to expand our ministries. It is time now to look toward our tomorrow.
We've just been so lucky that the people who came before us provided for the needs of us and for our children. And whether we like it or not, it's our time in history to make a contribution, to stand up and be heard. The church doesn't ask much from us very often, and this is our opportunity and our time.
It is a time for celebration, for introspection, for thanksgiving, an opportunity for revitalization, restoration, and building anew under God's rainbow.
I think the greatest opportunity that we have for stewardship is to participate in something for which we will not derive an immediate value. I'm often reminded of an acorn. To plant an acorn, to see a magnificent oak takes not only lifespans, but several lifespans. This opportunity under God's rainbow affords you and me a chance to give something to future generations, faces unseen, names unknown, whereby that we can be a part of history. This great cathedral has been here in existence, not in this particular place, for over 150 years. And what I'm committed to is to make sure that the next 150 years are as glorious as the first 150.
150 years of generous stewardship has given the congregation of St. Mark's a rich legacy.
There's hardly ever been a more exciting, growing time in the ministry of this place, and there's so many things we could do if only we had a place to do it.
The most exciting element of today's Capital Stewardship campaign is that place, a new St. Mark's Activity Center.
There simply isn't enough adult meeting space in the facility to accommodate all the ministry that's going on at St. Mark's.
I think we've been outgrown a long time.
I think it is important to give youth a place to come and feel comfortable with.
The biggest concern that we have is we do not have a regulation-sized gym, and a school that is our size and growing as we're growing needs one.
I mean, I think St. Mark's is our
already, a huge force in this community, and it can only continue to grow. And I personally would love to be able to come back and see a new building in 30 years that I can say, I was here when that went up, and I made a difference in this church.
I guess it's kind of like the field of dreams mentality, build it and they will come. If you provide a magnificent place like we have here and expand on it and provide the great programs, you're going to produce quality atmosphere. You're going to produce a real richness to people's lives that they wouldn't have without that.
Build it is what parishioner and architect Stuart Slack hopes to do. Slack, working alongside original architect Jack Annan, is developing Phase 4 of the long-term St. Mark's building plan, begun in 1954.
It really is a great opportunity to continue what Mr. Annan laid out, and it really is a Phase 4. It's physically located where he made a provision for that to happen. It will certainly be an opportunity to have youth activities that we've never had before that are both athletic as well as other participatory kinds of things. It will be an opportunity to have community activities unrelated to any of those things in here. So that means gymnasium kind of space. It means athletic space, art space, classroom space, office space, a whole variety of different things.
We all have dreams and visions about what a new activity center might mean to St. Mark's, how it might perpetuate our growth. But with hopes and dreams come the reality of obligations, the responsibility of stewardship. What does that mean to you?
Each of us has a different blessing. And I don't know necessarily what your blessing is, and you may not know what mine is, but I know what mine is, and you know what yours is. And consequently, that's what this campaign is all about, is to assess who I am and the blessings that I've known in order that I might share that with the greater community. You can look at all kinds of measurements, and yet the only measurement that I would offer to you is the measurement of the heart. I don't know that there's any value in giving 2% or 8% or 15% or 22%. All I know is that God didn't look at a percentage and say, well, I'm going to give M.L. Agnew and his family 22%. God gives me 100%. And so I want to be able to give 100% out of my own sense of graciousness to God and his ministry here.
Sacrificial giving. That's what this capital stewardship campaign is about. And just as the plans and the building are not new to St. Mark's, neither is the concept of equal sacrifice rather than equal gifts. In the 1903 stewardship campaign to build the old St. Mark's on Cotton Street, the Reverend Joseph H. Spearing wrote,
"Let no one, because of the scantiness of his means, feel that he cannot help in this great work, or that his little will not be missed."
A campaign of this type requires everyone's participation.
I think it's significant for us that we look at everybody to participate, no matter what the dollar amount, that they feel in their heart that they're a part of this church and they respond joyfully to this campaign to the best of their ability. I think we're asking for a joyful giver, and we're asking for a sacrificial giver, whatever the amount.
Throughout the history of St. Mark's, we've taken our visions and turned them into realities. And with the growth of St. Mark's has come the growth of so many of us.
When I moved to Shreveport 32 years ago, one of the first things we did was look around for a church family. My husband had converted from another religion, and we ended up at St. Mark's, and it put its arms around us and has loved us for as long as we have been in Shreveport. Through the years, it has allowed us to serve, and it has taught us, it has trained us, it has lifted us up and encouraged us. It has been there for us in times of need. It has celebrated with us in times of joy. And our life has never been the same since we came to St. Mark's.
My family did move around a lot. We don't have what I would call a family home to go home to, but this church has always been that for me. It's a place where when I come here, I feel warm, I feel loved, it's familiar, and it's a place I've always felt comfortable and loved being.
When I came to Shreveport in 1970 as a resident, I was midstream in life, and at that, some unexpected clouds and a rainstorm came in my life. And there's a hymn that I knew from the time I was a child that my daddy used to sing, and it was called "O Love That Will Not Let Me Go." And one of the verses in there says, "Oh joy that finds me in the rain, I trace a rainbow through the pain." And I think the pain comes first and the rain comes second. But I found the rainbow in the rain right here at St. Mark's.